What the fuck is happening, people? Welcome to the General Banter Podcast. Patreon exclusive coming at you live from our little office in the house here. Um, it's lockdown. Trying not to travel up and down to the office too much. Thought I would do a little podcast from the house. Last week I put up a podcast called Bits, where I just talked through some of the ideas that I electronically jotted down in my notes on my phone. And I was encouraged and disheartened at the same time. It was good to put up a little podcast, and people are like, man, I really like that. I really like that style of you just sitting in your office, just spitballing, run through ideas, man. I liked it. It was like the old style podcasts. And I was like, that's good. But then also I was like, shit. Have I been putting too much effort and time and money into like these big production podcasts with like multicams and everything? When I could have just got away with this, kind of just chatting at home. And I had a full existential crisis, guys. I freaked out. The last podcast, in fact, what happened was, this is the rundown of what happened in our office. I ordered, we decided, like, what would be a good camera? I've got two GH5s. This is all boring tech stuff. We decided Niall bought a Blackmagic camera. So we started filming the podcast on that. It immediately looked better. He saw a deal online where someone was selling two more Blackmagics, and we're like, holy shit, let's get three of them. We can shoot a comedy special anywhere. And then we got the little multi-cam switcher thing, so all the cameras run into that. We can switch it all. And at this point, I was like, man, we're a fucking production company now. We're a full-blown production company. I personally don't need any gear whatsoever. So I was like, get this fucking out of my life. Sold two cameras. Sold this camera I'm talking to right now to Aaron McCann. I was like, listen, bro, this is a great deal. You're not going to get a better deal on a camera anywhere else. These GH5s are holding their value really well. Sold it to him. Okay? Him and Tim. I'm like, get your podcast online. Get it on fucking YouTube. So they had the camera. They had it for weeks and months maybe without using it. And I shot my podcast last week. Got such positive feedback from you guys on Patreon that I was like, man, I need to mix it up. I have nothing to shoot my own podcasts on. If I decide to go rogue and like, I'm going away for the weekend and I want to record a little podcast like this, I have no gear anymore. I have like a shitty, tiny Canon camera that like shoots fucking 10 minutes at a time and I have to keep stopping it. And I had a full existential crisis and I phoned Aaron up like a mentalist. Like a mental case. And I went, man, do you remember the camera that I sold you? And he goes, yep. And I went, him and Tim, and I was like, have you used it much? And he's like, no, it's not out of the box yet. And I went, right. And I was like, are you likely to use it soon? They're like, no, probably not till we move to London. And I was like, this is gonna sound fucking demented, okay? Can I buy that back off you? Because I found myself looking online for like GH5s, used ones and all, just to get a cheap one. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I buying like another camera to start from scratch when I'll just ring them and see if they'd be willing to sell me it back. And praise be to Allah, to these boys, for being sound and slow to actually use the kit. They were like, yeah, just fucking buy it back. And I went, thank you, because I got my GH5 back. It's got fucking my camouflage cover on it. It looks like a camera you would give a 3-year-old, but it's got the camouflage cover on it. It's got the little furry mic. I'll not have to stop and, fucking re-record everything every 2 minutes. I can do podcasts like this anywhere. Yeah! That's such a golf celebration. White guy just going, ah! So here we are. We're doing a little intimate podcast in the office, Hope you like it. Feels good. But, I mean, what that means for the listener, I mean, we're just clearing up some admin here. What that means for the listener is... we get a nice mixture. I'll turn up to the office. I will shoot with Niall, and we'll have multicam, and we'll probably do that sort of more in the style of the podcast we did with like Aaron and Mickey in the bar. I'm gonna keep it more of a just strange turnover of people. Whoever turns up can be on it. If fucking Niall's there, get a camera on him. If Mickey turns up, he could be on the podcast with me and Maureen. He can me and Aaron can like being a podcast with fucking whoever turns up. Say William turns up from Flow CBD. Well, he can get on. Just keep it this revolving door of guests for the main podcast, and then I'll do this by myself. That'll tick the box of the nice intimate ones, the blind boy style podcast fingering, I call it. He calls it a podcast hug, but it's the podcast Sunday hand job. ASMR right in your ear. What's actually quite nice is you can hear sort of birds in the background today, which is quite beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more of these little podcasts at home, and it's exciting. It was Easter. There wasn't a fucking egg in the house. I was furious because, it's just another event that just washed over. I remember seeing a meme where someone was like, "Here, what the fuck happened to Easter?" And they were talking about it last year. And now we're in the second year of like fucking more events just being sort of washed over. We've missed Easter again. Not that in fact, I've probably celebrated Easter more this year than I ever have in my entire life. I'm not a religious guy. It's washed over me. Oh fuck, an egg landed on my lap. I'll eat it. Of course I, a fat cunt. I've no truth bomb thing to hit here. But, we missed Easter. I remember, I'll tell the story again. I've told it 500 times. When we were younger, we had some, slightly rough neighbours. And they were always hanging over the fence shouting shit. And we were all getting in the car as a family. Back before it was massively fractured. And we got in the car and the wee girl from next door was like, "Where are you going, Easter?" And that was such a jarring sentence that it's one of about 5 sentences that I'll never forget. Where are you going? Easter? Do you know what I mean? That's like going, what's your name? Snowing? Like, what? Absolutely demented. But I'll tell you something. Speaking of snowing, Northern Ireland, pick a weather. It's the joke that keeps on giving in this fucking country. If you got sunburnt yesterday, don't worry. There is sleet hitting your sunburn today to help cool it down. What the fuck is this country? We got a bit of work done in the garden. We had a digger pull out a big tree. Not a big tree, it was a small fir tree type thing that was fucking... You only look around the place and you're like, why is that there? Like, who decided to put that there? So we got fucking rid of it. Okay? And I'm out there, sweat pissing off me, work gloves on, pouring a tin of fucking Diet Coke over my tits. It was sexy, lifting blocks and all the fucking traps were popping. Looked like Tom Hardy and Bronson, you know what I mean? Just all traps. The next day, I went back out to move some like paving stone things back into place. And I went out in the same gear I was wearing, put it back on, dirty and smelly and sexy. And I threw it on. I went outside, I was wearing like shorts and like a hoodie, fucking freezing. And then like fucking snow started coming down, and I was like, what is this? It's the goddamn end of the world around here. It's a bit apocalyptic this Easter, with the amount of fucking like, with the amount of goddamn rioting going on. I don't even know what the crack is, to be honest with you. First of all, I never quite touched on this. I have never drank more in my life. I've been drinking every night for about 5. It's been like a week-long stag do around here. I've been on the and every night I had one night off there, and then last night it was like Maureen's sisters and boyfriends come up, and I was like, well, what else am I gonna do? Might as well get fucking stuck into this whiskey here, and it's those days where like everybody's off. So you're not really under pressure to fucking do any work, especially when you're self-employed. And then you're just like, what am I going to do? I've done nothing all day. I need to do something. Let's get smashed. And then we'll get our skis on and we'll go down this hill. And we'll ski down that hill till we go over on our ankle. And then tomorrow it'll be 22 degrees again and we can relax in the sun with our broken ankle that we got... fucking doing the luge last night when it snowed. Fuck this country, man. And the rioting, like I keep seeing clips. Like, what the fuck is going on? By the way, do people not know how flammable petrol is? We're like, it's just, it's like, do you ever light a piece of paper on fire and you throw it on the floor and you stamp on it a couple of times? petrol does that too. They're like, no, petrol, when combusted, will make a car, will propel a car forward. You know? Some of them very, very fast. I have a car with the engine of a ship, and it's a petrol car, and when it goes on fire, the fucking thing nearly breaks in half. It goes so fast. And you fill a fucking milk bottle, like fuck even knows where you got a glass milk bottle from in this day and age. It's probably worth money. You should have kept that. And then, they're like, I'm going to throw this. And they're like, oh shit, it spilled in my face. And then, you're sitting there in your fucking grey Adidas tracksuit, slapping yourself in the head, going, oh my God, I'm on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Imagine going out with the lads. Now, I don't even know what the rant was about. I know it was something to do with fucking Michelle O'Neill going to that, IRA funeral or whatever the fuck it was. And so, so did fucking 5,000 other people by the looks of it. And it was last year too, and they're sitting going, oh, someone should look into that, that she was out during COVID and fucking, I think that's what it was about. I mean, my sister told me this. Like I said, I've been drinking for about a week. But like, yeah, they're out fucking rioting, and it's the same old story. It's like, oh my God, something happened somewhere else. I'm so furious. I'm gonna destroy my local community. And by the way, I'm 15. Like, I just imagine going out like, right, Mum, we'll get a couple of fucking tins, and we'll fucking take a tins, and then we'll go out and we'll fucking riot with a place, and it'll be good crack. And then you're like, is it good crack, or am I gonna wake up tomorrow morning looking like Freddy Krueger? Imagine. Oh, I mean, the lads went out fucking ratting. Shout out to the Interface Diaries. What do you do in your spare time? Ratting. Come on, mate, we'll go out and do a bit of casual ratting. And then, or they'll be like, what happened last night? Oh, I mean, fucking Darn went out and, got a few cans and fucking drank out there and then put on our fucking best Easter fucking tracksuit. You know what I mean? And a pair of shoes worth more than the house, and we just decided to go out ratting, and then I fucking threw a petrol bomb and it exploded, and then and guess what? I woke up with no nose, no ears. Cool. And then, as the nature of the internet is, they'll just take a clip from it'll be like, this is rioting in fucking Belfast, this is rioting in Derry or something. And then the next clip, they'll be like, oh my God, this rioting's awful. And you're like, well, that's definitely a scene from like a movie. Oh my God, rioting. And then a clip from like the end of The Joker. And everyone's like, this is fucking wild. Where's that? Shaftesbury Square? And you're like, no, it's from the end of The Joker, you stupid bitch. Because I fell for it. I mean, what a dickhead I am. I literally did a fucking April Fool's. I did an April Fool's. Then I fell for about 6 of them. Dickhead. I put up by the way, the one that I see, the fake clip that I seen online with the rioting turned out to actually be from Bloodlands, the TV show that we've been talking about, with the doctor who's supposed to be like, I'm a consultant, are you? No, you're not. I don't know a consultant in the country would be like, I fucking consult, know what I mean? You got a brain injury? Fucking call me up. I'll consult the fuck out of it. Know what I mean? You fucking burn your nose off. You burn your eyelids shut in a fucking rat. Trying to throw a fucking petrol bomb at the peelers. Call me up. I'll fucking consult with you and be like, aye, darn. They're not opening again. Sorry to tell you, mate, but you've burnt your eyelids shut. Oh, fuck me. I can't believe it. But yeah, the clip was just like someone's phone footage from like another angle of a setup that they obviously did for this BBC show where someone runs out and throws a petrol bomb, buff, goes on fire. But they shot it with a phone from the other side of the shot, and everyone's like, fuck! I fell for it. Someone sent it to me, and I was like, I know there's rioting and whatever, but I was like, that's straight up attempted murder. And then the guy messaged me back, and he was like, yeah, I fell for that too. That's actually from the TV show Bloodlands. And then I remember the actual bit from Bloodlands. I'd said the fucking police station. I was like, yeah, I remember it now. So embarrassed. But I did a April Fool's. I did an April Fool's, and I decided the day before that I'm just getting the Patreon questions up. The day before that I would Photoshop myself into the little promo picture that Joe Rogan puts up, and put myself in it. Coughed right down the microphone. You're welcome. This is the Patreon exclusives you're into. Ratting. Know what I mean? So I put up a photo of me, like, and I deliberately did it. I mean, if it was smart in any way, it was I didn't have a very flattering picture. I looked like it was like made. Not that there's any flattering pictures of me that exist. If you're watching this in video, you'll see that today I've dressed like Mr. Motivator. I bought this orange hoodie online. I thought it was a cooler orange than it was. It turned up. I looked like a fucking orange, or I'm round like an actual orange. And then I just thought I would double down and put on the orange hat. I never wear this hoodie outside of the house. This is kind of my lounging hoodie. And then I thought, let me Mr. Motivator it up here, and I'll put the orange Carhartt hat on. I look like a fucking knobhead. I look like repping a fucking. I look like a like promo gear you'd wear if you worked in like a healthy juice shop. Except they're like, why would you hire that guy to promote healthy juice when he's clearly a fat cunt? He's been drinking for 5 days on the trot. So yeah, I put up that picture, and it wasn't too flattering. It was like, it looked like it was mid-sentence. And fucked around in Photoshop a wee bit. Wasn't the best Photoshop job of all time, but it did the job. And do you know what? Immediately I felt bad because, there's people follow me online, and they maybe some people on the podcast here who would be genuinely happy to see me do well. And they'd be like, man, this is fucking great news. And then you have to be like, yeah, I lied. For jokes. But I put it up, and it was like, boom, it's up 9 a.m. tomorrow. And yeah, and after doing that, thinking I was an evil genius, I literally fell for about 5 of these things. I fell for loads of them. People putting on car crash photos, and I was like, oh my god, man, are you alright? And they're like, yeah, it's an April Fool's, you dickhead. And I was like, oh yeah. Just falling for them all over the place. I feel like a fucking asshole. And then like some of them, like I thought mine was quite a good one, to be honest. I thought mine was quite a good April Fool's. There was people out there just being like, it'd be some girl and be like, hey, I've got an OnlyFans. And then you swipe to the next slide, and she's like, jokes. And you're like, well, yeah, I'd like to think it was a joke. You know what I mean? You fucking. But why not? I mean, I can see OnlyFans opening up now as a bit more of just a social media platform. And why not? It's no different to Patreon. I mean, you could get your fucking asshole out on Patreon too. And if I get any requests for that, there'll be a new tier being introduced. Okay? Imagine I did that. I was like, guys, General Banter, or fucking patreon.com/General Banter. Sign up. You get bonus podcasts every week. Little intimate podcasts. We've got, we got offers exclusive offers that go out for the merch and stuff. You get first access to that, first access to tickets, and also for $10, the big man is spreading his gape. Can you imagine? Disgusting. But as I said to Armacan, it'd be worth trying. There'd be someone out there. I think there'd be no appeal whatsoever there. And then, put up a photo of me on a wooden rocking horse, and some guy was like, some older gay chap was like, that's for all the daddies out there. Thank you. This guy was big into it. He'd watch me spread my gape. We'll dive into these questions here just as a bit of guidance, but just on a side note, I did order a large batch. Well, not a large batch, large considering I only wanted 4 of the fucking things. But I've made it. Let me see. I've made an order for some diner mugs, which comes after me, being in the office and knocking over 16 cups of coffee over my fucking soundboard. So I decided to order some some diner mugs, which are like a big American style, big heavy duty curved mugs, so that they've got a heavy base. You can't fucking flick them and knock them over. And I only really need a couple of them, but the minimum order was like fucking 60 or something. So over on the Patreon, I've taken a bit of a poll there. I was like, would anyone buy one of these? Because I only need a few of them, and I've a load of them to shift, and they were dear as fuck. I can add it to my merch mugs. Yeah, so people seem to be up for it. I'll put the link up, like a private link. It is a pre-order because I've only pre-ordered them, but they'll be 3 to 5 weeks or something, they said. But yeah, it'll save me chucking coffee all over the motherfucking soundboard in the office. But we'll dive into some questions here. It's loose, you know what I mean? It's the half-hour power hour. We're 20 minutes in. We're chilling. What's at the top of your bucket list? That's always a fucking strange one for me, because apart from the pandemic, like I can generally, most of the goals I make, I can achieve them or do them relatively quickly. So the likes of bucket lists, I don't know. I might make a bucket list. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write on this page, bucket list podcast, bucket list pod, and I'm gonna think of some stuff, and that'll be like a similar to the bits one. You know, we'll have a nice conversation about what my bucket list might be. You know, my aim is always like it's never really specific goals or anything like that. You know, I kind of get to do most things that I enjoy and want to do. A lot of my goals are mainly like a quality of life thing. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna write down a bucket list podcast and just and do like a little, or I might turn into like a vlog or something. There's a fly in here. Welcome to summer. Hey, it's snowing outside. The flies come in. Jesus Christ. Obviously the computer's on fire too. That's fun. Bucket list. I mean, I had a very interesting phone call with my manager during the week there, and we're working on something very cool. And if we can pull that off, flies, like, I mean, come on. If we can pull that off, that'll be a big fucking goal of mine ticked off. That would be great. What other sort of bucket lists are there? There's a lot of travel stuff I'd like to do. I mean, one of the short-term achievable things is I definitely want to make like a couple of general vlog specials, and maybe have them like Patreon funded or crowd funded or something. And as an exclusive, and do, you know, similar to like Top Gear, will do like a Vietnam special or something. Do that, except with all the lads. So kind of like a travel show type thing. I would fucking love to do that. That's a bucket list. Yeah, there's a bunch of shit. I mean, some of them are very simple. Like I've never been to New York. Now this fly, man, is becoming the star of the show. Like, I've never been to New York, so I suppose, like, you know, well, Shane's done that. Shane's been to fucking New York and done a bunch of shit. I just want to go over there, maybe do some gigs. Who knows? Stuff like that. You know, I should probably look into making like a feature length thing, or like a proper series. That would be fun. Just things like that. I'm doing a walk with well, at the minute it's just me and Maureen's dad doing a walk for like leukemia and lymphoma, and that's gonna be up the Mourns at some point. You can look that up. You can look it up and register. It's like 25 quid. But Maureen has talked about doing fucking marathons and stuff. She goes, "What is that? Would that be like one of your goals, fitness wise?" And I'm like, I've never thought about it. I've never went like, yeah, I'd love to run a marathon, because I'm shit at running. But maybe I'll look into that. Something like that. Did you see the rioter getting set up? By the way, I jumped out of that. I'll come back to that bucket list thing. I'll write down some stuff and we'll have a more interesting chat. Did you see the radar getting satellite instant karma? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Literally one of probably the oldest sayings in the world. Is it not that if you play with fire? What is it? Don't play. What's the actual saying? Don't play with fire. Let me see. What's the actual saying? Play with fire. Sing, sing, sing. If you say someone's playing with fire, you mean that they're doing something dangerous that may result in great harm for them and cause many problems. Yeah, I mean, it's literally saying. Let me see if there's any good memes about it. Oh my god, asshole quotes. But yeah, the guy was literally playing with fire and also highly combustible fuel. And sure enough, he nearly burned himself alive. Now, I don't want to spoil it. Well, it's not a spoiler. It literally happened last year. We have been fully addicted to Drive to Survive, which is fucking the best show on Netflix. And it's about Formula One, and I will never watch a Formula One race in my life. But this series is like, I'll skip the whole season in real life, the whole Formula One season, and then I'll be like, please get that series out. Did I fucking find out what happened? Because the drama, and that guy Grosjean goes off and crashes, and the fucking car goes on fire, and they're like, oh, he's in there for like 2 minutes or something. Barbecued, unbelievable, insane. The guy's just, I mean, the thing is like roaring with fire, and this guy just climbs out of the fire, shaking his hand. How he didn't get fucking completely scorched, I have no idea. What are some of your first world problems? For instance, mine is when they make pajama bottoms with no pockets. That's, man, that is tough. I've experienced the same with shorts. You know, you buy a pair of shorts and you're like, why is there no pockets in these? Like, it's 2021. Surely have somewhere to put your phone. I mean, people are probably playing actual football matches with their phone in their fucking pocket. Yeah, that pisses me off. That could be another podcast on its own. I'm gonna write that down. First world probs. I mean, my a lot of my gripes are like this that I've realized recently are to do with childcare and to do with, and obviously most of the things are geared to women. You know, but there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, man, I wish this wasn't so low, or I wish this wasn't on the floor, or I wish this wasn't so fidgety and small that only like a tiny small hand can operate. Like, there's a lot of that shit. I definitely have developed a bad back from like having to change the. Now people are like, get a changing table. We talked about that, and then we talked to Maureen's mum, who works with fucking people with young babies all the time, and she's like, fucking 700 children die every day from falling off a changing table. And we're like, okay, I'll just change them on the fucking floor then. You know, and then you spend just like the last year and a half bent over a tiny baby, and now the guy's like trying to put a nappy on a fucking live pit bull, and then you go for a walk and the fucking, you know, when the pram extends up and it's still, and I'm not that tall, like I'm not tall, I think I'm like 6 foot at best, 6'1" in heels, but it's just a little bit too short, and you're like, I'm just out of range here to be able to walk comfortably. I need like an extender. I need bull horns on it, you know, like you used to get in your bike, just to bring it up a little bit. But yeah, there's lots of, I mean, all day I have those fucking first world problems. One of my cars doesn't have cup holders. Bennett. Asshole. What's the worst food combination you've made when you're drunk? Now, I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking go nuts and try and kill this fly. Worst food combination. I mean, the biggest problem with me is if I'm steaming, probably no matter what I've had, I'd be like, oh, I was blocked and I had about like 15 pints now, and then I had a kebab. I'll still need like that dessert comforter before I go to sleep, so I'll be like, I'm gonna also have shreddies. The kebab was yuck. too much garlic or whatever. I need a nice cozy bowl of like a Rice Krispies. Give me a bowl of Rice Krispies. You know, and that's usually when you fucking barf all over the place. So yeah, I'll be like, whatever the fuck I just had raw chicken on the chicken kebab. It's okay, man, because I'm fucking gonna have Cocoa Pops. It's okay. That's what I'm gonna call this episode, Rice Krispies. Hi, Mr. Geddis. Hope you're well. Today's burner, it's a free bar. What's your drink and pub snack of choice? Wow. I mean, most of the drinks that I enjoy drinking, I've been drinking for the last 5 nights. So, it would just be, whatever sort of Czech beer that they've got going on. And the pub snacks would be, I don't know. I mean, I remember going to a place called Bull and Ram in Belfast before it abruptly shut. And one of the chefs kind of took care of us a bit. And the platter that came out was fuck it. I was like, see if I can get this everywhere. There was like pork scratchings. They had those little fish, whiting, or is that what they're called? Whiting? Tiny little fish. The whole fish is battered, so you eat its fucking shite pipe and everything. There was bone marrow on bread, bro. Fuck me. And this is before our starters come out, so I had that, then a starter, then a fucking steak, bro. Near couldn't walk, but that sort of stuff, like fancy snacks. You don't want to overeat when you're drinking. You want to get the drink in. You know what I mean? If you could become anyone for the day, dead or alive, what would you do? Oh fuck. I don't know. That's always a weird question. Although I always look at things like got it. I always look at things like if I put on like the Rory Gallagher Irish tour, and it opens up and he's like playing away, and the fucking sweat is just pissing off his face, and he's just fucking ripping it, and the crowd are going nuts. There's a element of that I look at and I go, fuck, you do not get that as a comedian. You know, a lot of musicians don't even get that, but that type of musician where they're just like total flow state, just absolutely ripping it, not even thinking about the chords, and he's just fully in the zone, fucking probably half pissed, just covered in sweat, just he's in the zone. There's like 1,000 people going nuts, but he's just like just going nuts. That's a feeling I'd like to get, but I'll probably never get that being a shitty comedian. You know what I mean? Who sent this link? Let me check. Naomi Mitchell. Okay, back with the weirdness. Fetishist husband made wife pretend to be amputee for sex, and now wants to chop his healthy limb off. How did it start in the first place? Were you molested by a pirate? The man's unnamed wife wrote to the Abigail Van Buren agony aunt. This is like a DJ column after her husband asked her to cover up part of her leg with a towel during. I mean, does that double as amputation? Put a towel over your leg. Oh my god, it's like it's not there. And then maybe he's just working as well. Just put that towel over your head, and I'll imagine it's someone else. She said her marriage of 6 years was mostly blissful, and that she had initially tried to maintain an open mind about her husband's fetish. I mean, the guy's fucking nuts, man. I don't even want to read on. I just want to make up my own story. I mean, like, bro, I don't know. Put an ad up. There's probably people out there with fucking amputations are down for a bit of cock, even if it is from a weirdo. Chris McKeown, want to help me get rid of a mattress and some carpet? Cash in hand, no questions. Yeah, I mean, there are some things like, that just like that you see or that are in your house and you're like, well, this is broke now, so what do I do with it? And there's a lot of things you're like, yeah, am I gonna have to fucking pay for some guy to fucking take this? We're very lucky here. Maureen's dad has a bit of a yard, and he just has this big heap of shit that he just throws things on, and he's just like, hey, I just throw it on there, I'll burn it fucking once a year. So it's great. You just take whatever you want down there. Probably totally illegal. Say no. Nicest order from the Chinese. Oh, God. I mean, if you were just ordering everything that's tasty as shit, you would go for like a special fried rice, all the trims. You would go for like a vermicelli noodle type thing with some prawns in it, maybe like a satay prawn. Uh, you get like a char siu chow mein. Get the fucking roast pork in there. Depends how fancy the Chinese is. You get places where you're like, give me the fucking duck pancakes. Go, let's go nuts. Uh, but do you know what? There's something to be said about just dipping a fucking chicken ball into some curry. I'm not above that. Thoughts on Freddie Gibbs being the coolest man on the planet? I mean, yeah, the guy. I mean, if you were just living your best life, the guy is like, man, I just put on a fresh drip, drop some lyrics on a track, get in my vintage fucking whatever the fuck car that is, and I go to strip clubs every day, and I throw money at these hoes, and they probably gawk me off. A gawk. Up the hoods. Yeah, Freddie Gibbs is the man. Giving a shout out to you. Loving the show. Been listening flat out for about 2 years and only recently got the Patreon a couple of months ago. Nice one, Mikey. Legit have 2-3 day hangover. All I've watched has been the podcasts to keep the bug fast anxiety at bay. Lay off the caffeine, man. General Banter Podcasts are equivalent to a few diazes for sure. Okay, is that how boring they are? Can't wait to places open up for a few shows. Me neither. Keep her lit, big man. No real question in there. Cheers, Mikey. Good man. Maybe just lay off the fucking diazepams for a hangover. Although I hear they're good. I had a guy on a plane offer me 2 diazes in his open palm, 2 fluffy pills, and I was like, I'm actually okay for that, sir. Let me see, what was the bit I wanted to pick up on there? There we are. I put up a podcast recently there with Neil Delamere, which we recorded in the office. He was very skeptical about I shouldn't really be recording this outside of the country, being the Republic of Ireland. I'm up here for essential work, but I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't want it to be going out in video in case it fucking affects my BBC work. And I was like, well, that's cool. We'll just record on the video. And we sat fucking, like a fucking movie where he's like a mile away and we're, Jesus Christ. But we didn't put the video out anyway. Out of respect for him. But, yeah, it was a weird podcast because obviously we had that big chat before the podcast, which when we go to record the podcast obviously has an effect on it. You're like, oh, so we just had a borderline row / very serious conversation before this. And now I have to be like, hey, what's the crack, man? And there was a couple of bits I feel like I was on one. I was on a bit of a mood in that podcast already. And, I may have downplayed the significance of, like, playing the SSE. He's like, what's it like? And I'm like, oh, it's grand. And then went on my own story where I'm like, oh, sure, fucking, had to leave Mickey home drunk and all, which is hilarious. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a good story. But he was a bit surprised. He was a bit more like, okay, maybe you should seem a bit more excited that you're playing an SSE gig. So I cut that bit out because I don't know whether it seemed like I was fucking ungrateful or whatever, because it is borderline. I mean, like, insane that anyone would be able to do that from fucking Northern Ireland. Now everyone's doing it for sure, but whenever I was doing it, I felt very much like this is weird and pretty special. But what will happen is when I come around to do it again in September, we've got a bookload of material here. We'll be on tour. We'll be fucking getting through it. Maureen won't be going through a load of treatment. We won't have a fucking very young baby. We'll be... Maybe I'll get to enjoy myself this time. But I'm excited for that. Have you ever thought about doing a different type of comedy for the challenge it would bring? Like Eddie Izzard learning German for one of his tours. I'm a few weeks behind on episodes, but cloister is my new favourite word. Phil Rafferty. Have you ever thought about doing something else? Nah, one of the reasons I bought my own camera back off Aaron was I shot a little home video from a Donegal trip last year when there was like a window where you could actually travel about, and then they were like, get back in, you cunts. We can't trust you. You went straight out and partied. Get the fuck back. But we went on a little it was September, like a small trip to like Donegal, just at Airbnb. Didn't speak to anybody, just in and out, and then it shut down very shortly after that. It wasn't me, just saying. But I had a few bits of footage from that before the baby got the cold, and then fucking we had to come home, and everyone stayed up there and had a whale of a time. But I put together like a little video with a bit of music, and I was like, I fucking love doing this. For years, I was like shooting things for other people, and not enjoying the edit process, and be like, fuck this seems like work, and procrastinating and putting things off. And then I made this little video purely for fun, and I was like, I love this. I love making videos. I need to make way more videos just for myself. So if I was gonna do something else, comedy wise, it would be more vloggy, doc type things. I don't think I would be learning fucking German. Das ist mein SSE show. Come see it. Broke all my fingers there. Sorry, that was disgusting. But like, yeah, me shouting my comedy in fucking German. All of a sudden the fucking moustache starts to get a bit tighter and all. You joking me, mate? Fuck's sake. Recently watched the docuseries on the Comedy Store. Good insight to the comics coming through the ranks. Would you consider trying to get a spot at the store? Chris, fuck a spot. We were going to book the Belly Room and just do a fucking show there and take Niall with us and film it, and fucking it'll look like goddamn Dave Chappelle's fucking Comedy Store special. So that's what we were going to do. I mean, to get a spot there, it would be like, honestly, it would be quicker to like do a gig there and draw in some Irish folk that were like in LA or San Francisco or something, and would travel to the gig and fill up your own gig at the Comedy Store, than it would for me to try and go through like when Aaron was there. It's all like potluck. You get your fucking name drawn out of a thing. You got to do a bit of stand up. It's a fucking nightmare. It's hard to stand out in that small period of time. Do a bit and fucking kill Tony, whatever. You just gotta stay there for like fucking a decade before someone's like, all right, we'll promote you from licking the toilets clean to you can actually speak into the microphone for 30 seconds and be hilarious. Which would be a waste of my fucking time. But yeah, you'd be quicker booking a thing there and just going and doing it. Because they're probably like, yeah, we rent it out. We don't give a fuck who's in it as long as it's full. So yeah, have you heard about James Charles? Do you know how to get the CD out of a stereo? The tray opens, but the disc is still in there. Did you tip her up? Did you shake the disc out, sir? Man, I found a DVD of like old home videos, and I was like, I actually don't even have anywhere to put this video. Or I was gonna just rip it and have the files, and I was like, I don't know where to put it, to be honest. What's your take on the riots? I mean, get inside. Have you heard about James Charles being a raging nonce, asking 16-year-old boys for nudes? Funnily enough, it doesn't really seem like he's being cancelled. What do you think of this, considering people like Kevin Hart can get dragged through the mud for a tweet, but then a popular YouTuber committing an actual gross crime gets nothing? Yeah, I mean, people fucking pick and choose what they want to get mad at. There's also, if someone is sort of famous in like a traditional media sense of the word, people are like in movies, on TV, and they act a certain way, and there's a certain like role model thing. When they fuck up at all, people are like, you bastard. Whereas I think like the likes of, what's this dude called? I know who that is. It's the wee fucking weird guy with the makeup and everything. But like, someone like him, I mean, this is controversial to say, but for some fucking reason, I mean, what age is the dude? Like, what's the James Charles? I'm gonna look up his age. James Charles. I mean, couple of pints in, James will be getting fucking bent over. So he's 21, right? And like, I don't know when he was messaging these 16-year-olds, but I mean, I don't know. This is massively probably ignorant on my part, but like, there seems to be something different about like a 20, say he was 21, maybe this was like last, I don't know when he did these messages, but like, I mean, it's still strange behavior, but like, people don't seem to give a fuck when it's like a wee effeminate gay dude like that texting, you know, another little fucking effeminate gay dude who's like younger than him. I could be massively wrong, but like I think society in general is like, who gives a fuck? It's not the same as, you know, like they went mad at Chris D'Elia being like, oh yeah, well the guy's texting people who, or he's Snapchatting people who said that they were 17, and he's like, come on up, sure, we can kiss. Because the guy was like fucking 40 or something at the time. I just think generally speaking in society, people would see this guy with the fucking, you know, Botox and the fucking makeup and everything and be like, yeah, this person was chatting to a 16, 17-year-old. People will be like, okay, what are they going to do? Snog each other's little baldy assholes? What's the problem? The guy's yearbook photo was tremendous though. Also, girls, see this fucking like silver girls and guys like this, the silver shit that you put on your face, highlighter I believe it's called, to like highlight your bones. It looks like shit. You're like, I got my makeup good, my makeup's popping. Now let me take this and I'll put it on, and it looks like I'm trying to cover up a bruise, like I've been in a fight. Sort it out, girls. Right, what's your opinion on the likes of paranormal investigations? Load of shite, or there might be actually something. Watched a recent one investigating the comedy club in LA that featured Jeff Ross roasting the host, being interviewed about his experiences there. Would you ever consider doing one with Mickey? Huh? Are they related? Are they related, those two things, or did you just jump to like another? What do you think of paranormal investigations? Have you seen? You know, it's just like two completely separate fucking things. Unexpectedly share an emotional ghost story in the middle. I'll watch that later. This paranormal. I mean, I'm supposed to be doing a podcast with Tom O'Mahony on Friday, and he's been on one of those shows, and he was all fucking acting up and all. And then I see him in real life, and I was like, "Was it weird?" And he goes, "I was fucking talking shit, pretend it was like you there and all, load of box." So, I mean, there are some things that are just inherently scary, like when you're in a room. You know, when someone's like, this might be haunted, immediately you're shitting your pants, and every wee creak in the floor, you're like, oh god, ghost. But they're entertaining to watch, but I don't know. There's just certain places I'm like, well, I'm not going to go in there in the first place to be scared, so no thanks. I'm not brave enough. Cough twice. If you couldn't have given a fuck about doing the Neil Delamere pod and were forced into doing it. Now, I wasn't forced into doing anything, but as a favour, I was like, yeah, I'll get him on, he can promote the podcast. The hoops I had to jump through just for me to fucking chat to him pissed me off. But there's a reason why I don't have too many guests. You know, there's a reason why most of the guests on the podcast are friends of mine, where I know there's a existing chemistry. So there you go. You watched Seaspiracy yet? I had it on the background one night, but I fucking couldn't be arsed. I'll watch it again. But no doubt it's all like, people get upset about straws, when in actual fact, it's disposed dildos that choke all these fish. Big Ebron designing you a sweet home gym. Oh. Okay, very specific reference to something that I reshared. Yeah, there's a dude that was designing home gyms for Black Box and also watching my podcast in the background, so yeah, I don't think they give free shit away to anybody. Hey, let me hook you up with a gym. It's worth 80 grand. No thanks. Also, I have so much. We have loads of gym shit. I've bought loads over the years. If you could just build me a large shed, that'd be good. What kid show are you forced to watch by your toddler? I'm on the Mr. Tumble hype. Ours is Hey Dougie, and I don't fucking hate it at all. Hey Dougie is the shit. Sking ding 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 ding. What happened to Thomas Tanker Smythe? Dead or what? Who knows? Ask him, you know what I mean? I don't fucking have to answer for him the rest of my life. If festivals get to go ahead this summer, would you go? I don't think I would. I think I'll wait till I'm in the company of thousands of folk, and that is from our boy Donkey. No, I'd go. I wouldn't give a fuck. I know people are like, I'm just a bit too scared to be around that many people. I'm like, nah, let's go. I'll go. I don't give a shit. Neve O'Hagan, what's your beef with people meeting you and wanting to reminisce with an old character you create? It's a compliment. It's who we fell in love with. We still love you too. Calm your flaps and enjoy the fame. Insert truth bomb sample. What's my beef? I don't really have a beef with that. I think your ego wants someone to have kept up with your fucking career instead of going, man, I love your stuff. Do you not make it anymore? And you're like, what do you mean? They're like, the Bestie McDays, you don't put those out every fucking month anymore. And I'm like, well, no, because we moved on a lot from that. That's when, I should just be like, no, I don't make them anymore. The other stuff. Cheers, man. Cheers, lady. Whatever. But no, what am I meeting people? I haven't met anyone in a year and a half. Although I have been. Where were we the other week? We had to go to Armagh or something. Fucking Christ the night. And we're walking down the street, and there was a lot of people, a lot of school kids and everything. And I was like, this is bizarre being out with this many people around. I was like, starting to freak out. The walls are coming in. I was like, get me out of here. I suppose, if you look back, I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of variations of stuff. And, people will be like, do more vlogs, do more best of do more fucking Power the Blender, do more fucking live podcasts, do less podcasts, have more guests, do more fucking whatever, do more podcasts with Like, everybody has their favourite thing because I've bounced all over the fucking place. So I probably shouldn't get pissed off when people have a thing that they like of stuff I do. I think it's mainly because I don't give it. I whatever the thing I'm doing at the minute is the thing I like. So I'm sort of like, well, why do you not like the things I'm like doing right now? But anyway, mentally ill. Did you and Maureen have a good Easter? And was there much snow around your way? Thanks, Aidan. It's been on and off, sir. And it snowed this morning. Woke up, the ground was covered in snow. And then about an hour later, you could have taken your top off and sunbathed. The fuck's going on? Let me look out right now. Drop the plant. It's all good. Yeah, snowing a wee bit. Yeah, an aloe vera plant just fell off the windowsill there, and the muck went everywhere. We'll sort that out later. And just for shits and giggles, it fell into a camera bag. So what? It's life. Do your podcasts have dynamic ad inserts now, or is that something my podcast app is doing? No, that's something the host is doing. So we are over on Audio Boom now, and the reason for the move is to get more sponsorship money. We're selling out round here. The podcasts that go up on Patreon will have no ads, but yeah, they do insert it. But that's the reason we're there. They're gonna look at the demographics and the numbers and everything and get appropriate ads, and it's to make more money on the podcast, because if it gets you a certain level of success, you're leaving a decent amount of money on the table if you have no ads. So that's why we're here. You know what I mean? The thing has overheads. And it doesn't bother me when I'm listening to other podcasts. If you're like listening to fucking Blind Boy and just in the middle, it's like, join the army. It's gone in fucking 30 seconds. It's more annoying for someone to be like, hey, welcome to the podcast. Here's fucking 20 reads at the start, and then we start the podcast. So you think the podcast's like an hour and a half long, and it's like an hour and 10 long. So yeah, I apologise for that if it pisses you off. Generally speaking, the uploads to I will upload regular podcasts to Patreon, then the Patreon exclusives, but they shouldn't have ads on them, unless it's me reading an official sponsor that we have. Yeah, that's the deal. Have you seen the DOD remixes? He's a bit of a rebel in his old age, is our Daniel. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of them. Fuck that. If you could earn any Dougie badge, what would it be and why? Oh. The pizza badge is pretty cool. Liked it. Thanks, Emma. Answering all the hard-hitting questions. Got no explosion noise today. Last question, and we'll get the fuck out of here, guys. It's been a lovely little Sunday chat, even though it's a Tuesday, but it's Easter, so it's got that feel, doesn't it? It's got that Sunday feel. I enjoy it. Final question is, Mark, do you believe really Delamere was on a... Hey. Do you really believe Delamere was unaware that you've already done the SSE? Yeah. I think he was unaware that I'd done the SSE. I think he's unaware that this podcast is quite a big podcast in Northern Ireland. I think he was unaware that, we have a very high production level on the video. I think he's aware of a lot of things. Did I say aware? I think he's unaware of... Honestly, I'm going to review the tape there. Did I say aware every time I went to say unaware? I think he's unaware of or is oblivious to most of the things that go on here at the General Banter Podcast. But yeah, sure, what can you do? Why would I? But yeah, I listened to this podcast he did with Shane, and the way he was talking to Shane was like, how are you feeling about your SSE show? And he's like, yeah, how are you feeling about it? And I think Shane's is coming up first, so he's like, well, you do it, and let me know how it goes, and let me know what it's like to do the arena. One of the first comedian to do it, and I don't think he was aware that I'd already done two of them, or that Paddy Raff had done one. If you want to know what it's like, ask one of us. Done it. Smashed it, might say. You tell me. I probably could have got 2 shows out of the amount of material that I put into that Gedzilla show, but sure, say no more. Cool, got a bit fire at the end there. No problem. It's Sunday. It's a Sunday Tuesday podcast. That's the name of the podcast. Sunday Tuesday podcast. Tuesday Sunday podcast. Stupid name. No, cheers for listening, guys. Just a wee Patreon check-in, Cheers for all the people who have signed up. There's a weird thing that happens every month on Patreon where people have been signed up and it dips away and then it immediately bounces back with the amount of people that are on there. And I think, and it's happened before, people have signed up and then they go to see, or maybe I mentioned that there's a Patreon podcast and they go, oh, I'm not logged in. And sometimes whatever link between like their payment thing or whatever the fuck it is just cuts off and they're not signed up anymore. So I know that's what happens now. There will be like a drop off in numbers. I'll see how many people are on. It'll click into the next month. It'll drop down by a couple of hundred and then it'll jump back up where people go like, oh no, shit, that's been cancelled. I'll go back on. So I appreciate anyone coming back on. I appreciate any new people. A lot of the people who are joining in, they're being like, there's a lot of people out there who are like, I've been a fan for ages. I listen to all the podcasts, but I just never got around to doing it. And then they finally get around to doing it. And they're like, this is great. Go back and listen to fucking tons of podcasts. So, welcome. Everyone's welcome. Good to have you in here. And of course, I've promised everyone this. I've promised fucking Niall this. Hopefully we're opening up in the not too distant future and we can actually make some fucking content. Some decent content around here. So we'll look forward to that. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your Easter, guys. Try not to drink for a week straight like I did. And take care of yourselves, man. Go skiing. Go sea swimming. Every country is in the sea. I bet you if you looked on fucking Amazon to try, like, hey, can I get one of these like towel jacket things? You know what I mean? Like, it's like a dressing gown, but you pull like a pullover dressing gown. Essentially, is what it would be. Which is like such cock move, isn't it? Like, such a cock move to be like, I'm really taking my sea swimming seriously because I have a custom built, specific, purpose built piece of equipment for getting wet in the ocean. Do you have one of those when you get out of the shower? No. Then a towel will do you. You fucking lunatic. By the way, some of these people are like, man, I'm big into sea swimming, and you're like, I'm not seeing a lot of swimming going on. You know, if you wanted that experience, you could put your shower on like pissing cold and just jump in and go and get back out and just dry yourself and be at home. And I've talked to our man in Vietnam, Sean Campbell, who's actually in Cape Town right now, but he'll still be our man in Vietnam. And you know, he's like, "Do you feel better because you got in the cold water, or do you feel better because it's just generally more relaxing to be at the ocean and have a nice walk on the beach?" Similar, if you were to ask me. But some motherfuckers are gonna die. You know what I mean? You get some amateurs going in there and being like, "I'm just gonna go to Helens Bay and dive in." They jump in, just a big lung full of fucking salty water, dead. Would I get into it? Yes, I would love to. What I would love to do is, if anyone's getting rid of a chest freezer, is get one. I seen a woman do this. Got it for the garden, built a little enclosure around it, like a little shed, and then you throw a couple of chlorine tablets in there, like you put in a hot tub, and just keep it freezing cold water. You lift the lid on it and get in and go, and then you get out and you get into a homemade sauna. It's all good, man. It's good for the joints, good for the skin elasticity. I don't know what cold. I don't do well with cold. People are like, you know, you get cold, it's good for recovery. Anytime I've been sore or whatever, the only thing that's worked was heat. Like a hot bath makes me feel way better than fucking any cold therapy. And I don't mean because it's pleasant, because it's warm. I mean like actual effective, like I feel looser now. I don't know what the fuck the cold does. Oh, Christ. How many things am I going to spill in here? I'm away. Cheers for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. We might get Phil Taggart in the studio on fucking Saturday or something. We'll have a good chat. Take her easy, guys. Cheers for listening. Big kisses.